Hello again, everybody, and welcome to week 6 of the high school football preview show here at the Altoona Mirror on YouTube TV on public access channel 13.
That sounds
14.
right.
You know
13.
what? Just look for it. It'll be good exercise. But anyways, we've been doing this for several years now. The Altoona Mirror football show. We're back in the studio. We're back in video form, hopefully. And even though we haven't gotten any new stuff this week, we still wanted to acknowledge live here the stuff that Glendale people were really good about sending to us: the bath towel or beach towel, and then the washcloth, or it could be like a wash rag for your kitchen. But we're appreciative of that. You can still send us stuff. We're halfway through. Who can top this? Because these are really nice. You can't. But I mean, this is like, I tell you, I said it last week. I would put this in my bathroom.
It should not be a surprise that Glendale got win number 1 last week. Hey, you bring us stuff, you'll win.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm again joined by Mike Boydum, our high school football guru Jr., Andy Stein, and we're going to get right into it. We got 5 games picked out. First game, Bishop McDevitt 3-2 at Altoona 2-3. What do we know about Bishop McDevitt? Because usually they're 5-0 at this time of the year, but they're 3-2.
They're 3-2. They're coming off. They won the state championship in 5A last year. But if you remember last year, Altoona only lost to them 28-21.
Down there.
It was there. Altoona was very competitive, and Bishop McDevitt went on to win the state championship. Now, since that time, Stone Saunders, their star quarterback, has graduated. So that was like their key player last year. Although they did have Nazir Jones-Davis, who ran for nearly 1,700 yards last year as a junior. He's back. He's gotten a little bit off to a slow start this season, but he just had 7 carries for 108 yards against Carlisle. Once again, Altoona seems to play teams after Carlisle plays them. So Carlisle just lost to them 49-0. And that goes in line with a lot of these teams that Altoona has played. It's not completely Bishop McDevitt. The teams they beat are Chambersburg, Cedar Cliff, and Carlisle. So they haven't really beaten really good mid-pen teams yet. So
They beat the teams they're supposed to.
Yeah, they've won the games they're supposed to. So, but they did have a competitive game against Harrisburg. So, I mean, this is a good Bishop McDevitt team. I'm just saying we don't know much about them yet.
You saw him last week.
Just
we were
last week.
fortunate that Buck Frank, our boss, sent Andy down
That's
to
right.
end up with some good pizza nearby.
Outstanding CD pizza. Awesome.
But what did you see about Altoona?
Yeah.
What do you think that they did
Well,
that they could build on for this game?
Altoona's defense was outstanding last week. I want to say CD East got 4 first downs for the game. I think that was their first shot in almost 2 years or something like that. Just an outstanding effort. And, the Hazelwood kid, he really broke out last week as well. I think he had like 130-some yards, something like that. He broke a really big one for like 65 yards. Just a outstanding game for them.
Our next game we're going to talk about, Bellwood Annis 3-2 at Phillipsburg Osceola 3-2. Bellwood coming off the big win over Tyrone. Phillipsburg lost to Bald Eagle area, but this is at Phillipsburg Osceola. And Phillipsburg Osceola is decent. They are good. This is not the POs from the past. What do you expect from this game?
Well, the one bad thing about that loss to Bald Eagle last week was Coach Vroman told me before the season, when we get into close games, we need to win them because the race in 3A is going to be so close. And now with that loss, they're tied with Tyrone for the last spot in the 3A District 6 playoffs. Now, Tyrone this week has a really tough game against Bishop Guilfoyle that we'll get to later. So this is an important game for Phillipsburg. If you beat Bellwood here, maybe you get the inside track at that playoff spot. And also, there's teams ahead of them that could stumble down the road as their schedules get a little bit harder. And it's a team that has had a lot of success this year, and now we get to see how they respond to having a setback. Is it, we get back into the, hey, we're Phillipsburg, things don't work out here, and they go into a slump? Or they say, hey, we're putting that behind us. We are a different team. We're going to be better.
Nick Loverich's job this week. coming off the big Tyrone game,
Mhm.
and not only just big how they won. They won.
Yeah.
How they won, where they won. Is that he and his coach's biggest concern this week? That okay, Phillipsburg Osceola is dangerous. They could pose a problem for them.
Yeah, I would think so. And yeah, and it was a nice win for them. The rivalry with Tyrone, I know how important that is to those kids. But yeah, I think the challenge is now is like, hey, there's still a lot to play for the rest of the season, and Bellwood has as good of a chance as anyone in Double A, I think.
And I was noticing this. Either one of you can answer this one because I had the story on my page last week. I think Bellwood Ants threw the ball 6 times maybe. If
Yeah,
that?
six.
Classic
So
football.
Tyrone knew they were going to run, and they still ran. So
Yeah.
don't you just sit there, all right? Because I know you play. Can't you put 9 in the box? and
I
just say,
would,
"Go
yeah.
ahead."
I would
And
for
they
sure,
still
yeah.
run. That's how good they are. Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
I mean, I watched that. I covered the Tyrone Bellwood game, and Bellwood's line was pushing Tyrone 3 yards down the field. Now, I will say this: Alex McCartney was getting plenty of yards after contact too, but he wasn't getting contacted until 2 or 3 yards down the field as well. Those guys are pushing people,
Yeah.
and Bellwood's getting healthier. They've had Christian Jennings, Jace Quick have missed games this year due to injury. If all those guys get healthy for the playoffs, I agree with Coach Franco saying that they may have the best line in District 6.
I saw Bellwood 2 weeks ago, and I can attest to that. Their offensive line was outstanding 2 weeks ago, too.
Our next game we're going to look at Tussey Mountain 2-3 at Northern Bedford 0-5, and Northern Bedford Gary Black, one of the friends of our show. And again, just because I read this stuff every week, nobody has stayed more positive through this. Because I don't think Gary Black's ever been on an 0-5 team, yet let alone coached an 0-5 team. Do they have what's Tussey's situation? I mean, is this a game that they could possibly steal?
Well, Tussey has had a real nice win over, I believe, Lindbergh earlier in the season. So that was a nice win. But they lost to Myersdale last week, and this is I for some people who watch the show, they may not be familiar. Tussey Mountain and Northern Bedford is a big rivalry game, and it's at home. Northern Bedford is 0-5, but they have played a tough schedule this year. They went out and they played Wilmington out of conference. I mean, they could schedule a weak opponent there. No, they scheduled Wilmington. A couple years ago, they tried to play Stilton High Spire. They go out and they test themselves, and they have had good quarters, good halves. They just haven't put it all together. And this is a new group of kids, and I think this is an interesting game for me because it's a rivalry game. It's at home, and you are so hungry to have something positive happen. And you have your rival coming in, and I'm sure that, Andy, you were in situations where, hey, maybe Mo Valley wasn't having a great year, but if we beat Glendale, this makes our season.
That's my senior year, to a T. We lost to Glendale that year, but we went 2-8, and when we played Glendale, we were 0-3. It was going into week 4, and yeah, we were hungry for a win. I'm sure the Northern Bedford kids feel exactly the same way. They're hungry for a win, and that's what makes this team so dangerous this week.
It's Gary Black and his staff's greatest challenge now, because they're not used to coaching kids that are 0-5.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
It's hard for sure, but I think the motivation of not having a win yet, nobody deserves to lose them all, and I feel the same way for Northern Bedford right now. And I hope they get one, if not this week, sometime before the end of the season.
The other thing is they've been really had a lot of injuries, and if they go 0-10, which I don't think they will, I think they're going to win maybe a couple games. But they are in the playoffs if they want to enter the playoffs, and Coach Black has said that they are interested in that. I mean,
District 5, they're in
there's
District 5
4
in case you're watching.
teams. There's 4 teams in District 5, 1A, and they can all enter the playoffs if they wish. And he's just hoping that they're playing their best football at that time, and they're testing themselves now. So by the time they get to the playoffs, they could be a different team.
Our last Friday game here is Fort Hill, Maryland, 2-1 at Hollidaysburg, 5-0. Fort Maryland starts late, in case you're wondering the discrepancy there, the 3 games of 5 games. Hollidaysburg, 5-0, coming off a big win over Mifflinburg, just because Mifflinburg was 4-0 as well. I think people thought Holidaysburg would win. I didn't think they would win the way they did. What do you know about this Fort Hill, Maryland? They're always good. But, I mean, other than that, what do you know?
Yeah, I mean, even though Holidaysburg went quote unquote undefeated last year, they lost this game on the field before it was found out that Fort Hill had an illegal player or something like that, and it ended up getting turned into a forfeit win for Holidaysburg. Fort Hill's always very good. I will say this. I looked up their statistics for this week. Through 3 games, they've only completed 9 passes for 41 yards. They are not going to throw the ball. Braylon Younger has 29 carries for 330 yards. He's averaging 11.4 yards per rush for them. And as a team, they've carried the ball 66 times for 495 yards and an average of 7.5 yards carry. So that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a heavier dose of the running game, and the question is, can you stop it? I will say this, Butler came into their game against Holidaysburg running the ball really well, and Holidaysburg almost completely shut them down on the ground. So this is going to be a fun test because Holidaysburg has the size up front to try to stop that.
And no advantage at this point now because Holidaysburg's played 2 more games. It's Fort Hill. It's a powerhouse juggernaut Maryland program.
Yeah, in week 4, and I mean, you kind of know what you're getting. I can't remember who they played week 3. It was another Maryland team, but
Allegheny.
It was Allegheny, yeah, and like you weren't really sure what you were getting at that time. Now you should know what you're getting right now with Fort Hill. You probably have a bunch of film on them, and I'd say stack the blocks on them. Let them
As you say, 9 passes.
Let them beat you with the pass. So like,
I wouldn't even put my quarters out there. I'd say, "Get!"
I don't know if I would go that far. But.
Okay, you're right. That's why I'm a writer and a sports writer.
That's right.
Our big game Saturday, Tyrone 3-2 at Bishop Guilfoyle 4-1. Saturday night at Mansion Park, opposite Penn State and Oregon. And I'm still going to go to this game because I very rarely get to go to see my brother coach. BG, I mean, they lost the Consiglio kid, and I thought they'd be affected by it. They haven't been affected by it. They're 4-1. I mean, Tyrone's got a tough task ahead.
Well, the biggest concern I have for Tyrone is you just faced a physical, dominating running back in Alex McCartney, and you could not slow him down. And now you're facing Jake Kissel, who's a physical, dominating running back. How are they going to slow him down? And obviously, BG can throw the ball a lot better than Bellwood. So it's a tough task for Tyrone. And in addition, Tyrone has not really gotten its offense. I think its offense has much more potential than it's shown so far. I think the passing game with Eli Woomer, I think he's a good quarterback. I think the Amy's, Ashton and Mason are good athletes out there. Braden Parsons is a good wideout. They have the potential to be a very good passing team, and Caleb Whippy can take the ball on a screen pass, and he can take it 80 yards for a score. He's a quick play guy, but they just haven't put it together. They've had turnovers. They've had penalties. They got to wipe all that out and play a much cleaner game if they're going to be able to beat Bishop Guilfoyle.
And BG's quarterback is Coach Wheeler's son, so he's youngster now. This will be – is that Tyrone's one advantage maybe that they try to – I mean, obviously, you just hand off to Kissel the whole game. Or throw out of the backfield. But I got to think Tyrone's got to hope that they can come up with something to make him nervous to take advantage of that.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think they're going to have to key on Kissel for sure. And but I'll give BG a lot of credit. I saw them the first week 1, and they struggled that first half against Penns Valley, and apparently they've figured it out ever since because, I mean, you had some young kids out there, but, they have some experience under their belts right now. So, they figured it out.
And good luck to Scott Gumma. I'm sure you'll probably be having to sell your tickets for the Whiteout game. I hope you get some money for it.
Our quick hit segment now. Central 1-4 at Huntington 4-1. And I know Mike and I have been doing this show, I think, for 6 years. I don't think I've ever said Central 1-4 at Huntington 4-1. It feels like I said it the other way around. If you're Coach Sherry Albright, what are you looking for in this game at this point of the season?
At this point, I think you got to just be looking for a development. I think that they want to develop kids, work toward the future. Obviously, the seniors on the team, you want to have them have the best experience as possible. But at some point, hopefully, you get Jesse Moodler back, and you can start developing and working on things, because this offense has just not found itself this year, and they got to find something there. And Huntington just coming off you're ready to write them off, losing to BG, and then they go beat Clearfield
on the road,
so,
right? Was it on the road? That was unbelievable. I wanted to ask
It's a good
you,
win.
because you're on teams like Central has pounded Huntington in the past. Do high school kids remember stuff like when you were a senior? Did you play anybody you're like, well, we can hand it to you. We're going to hand it to you because you used to really beat up on us. Do kids still think like, well, I mean, you haven't been a kid in what?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Years.
Yeah, but I'm
But
sure.
I
I'm
wonder
sure
if
I'm sure the kids on the team have remembered all those years where Clearfield pounded them and everything. And yeah, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, we're Central pounded
or
Huntington.
said, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm sure they all remembered that, and you know, I'm glad they're turning it around right now. Huntington is. That's for sure.
And our last quick hit here: Mo Valley 2-3 at Juniata Valley 4-1. Juniata Valley's on kind of a roll here a little bit. They're playing better. They're single A, correct?
Yep, they're single A. They're actually second ranked right now in the District 6 rankings, right behind Bishop Guilfoyle.
So they could be headed to this. What are your expectations in this game?
I think Junior Valley's won 4 in a row since that slip up against Newport to start the season. And you saw Claysburg Kimmel last year win the ICC North. Junior Valley's got a pathway to do that this year. And as much hype as Claysburg Kimmel got going into the season, Juniata Valley is the team that could come out of there. They already have beaten Claysburg, and this is a test for them. I'm sure Andy can tell you a little bit more about Mo Valley.
That's what I was going to ask him. I said, what do you know as far as can they hang in this game? I know they're 2-3, but I don't think they get blown out on those 3 losses.
Yeah, well, the thing is like, yeah, they might not be beaten. Like, they played Mount Union last week, and I want to say they lost by like 2 touchdowns or so. I thought, I thought Mount Union had a chance to like maybe crush them, and they didn't. So I was encouraged by that. Juniata Valley is going to be another tough test. The good thing for Mo Valley is, they still have some very winnable games here. In the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season too. So, there's some hope there for sure.
And sticking with Juniata Valley, I think we're going to start off with Andy's line of the week.
There we go.
Set! Short steps. Short steps are better than long steps.
Yeah, speaking of Juniata Valley, they are my line of the week. We were talking about how impressive they've been since they beat Newport. Well, last week they won 55-14 over West Branch, and get this, 400 rushing yards. That's incredible. That number pops out at you when you see 400 on the rushing yards. So left tackle is Parker Imler, left guard Logan Harpster, center is Ricky Meese, the right guard is Tyson Adams, right tackle Matt Dick. Chance Weiser also played a little bit at guard and center. The tight end is Trenton Norris, and the running back is Connor Harker. Good luck against my alma mater, Mo Valley.
And then we'll go right over to Mike's stat of the week. I'm anxious to hear what Mike's stat. I see lots of numbers written down on his paper here.
Well, we didn't talk about Cambria Heights this week. They're playing Conemaugh Valley in a game that they should win pretty comfortably. But I wanted to touch a little bit on the fact that they're 4-1, just beat Northern Cambria last week, and they have beaten already a lot of the toughest teams in the Heritage Conference this year, minus the 1-point loss to Marion Center. The stat of the week is since Cambria Heights has joined the Heritage Conference in 2021, they are 37-6 in Heritage Conference games. And in that time, they've also won 7 playoff games and 2 District 6 titles. So the move to the Heritage Conference has really paid off for Cambria Heights, because if you remember when they were in the Laurel Highlands, they were like sometimes in the middle, sometimes at the bottom. It was just kind of a middling existence there. And since the Heritage Conference, it has just been a program that's been among the best in the area.
Which is nice because I still think they have the best uniforms.
Those are cool, yeah.
That sky blue and that red.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to send us a T-shirt or a jersey.
Yeah.
5X, 4X, whatever. Mike's probably a 1X. I ain't saying anything. No pressure or anything. Finally, we're going to close up shop with Scott's cool name segment.
I wanna know what's the name of the game.
we're going to stay with some of the teams in our area. Portage. And I haven't really paid tribute to my Italian paisans this year like I have in the past. Portage has a freshman running back linebacker named Dominic Berardinelli. And I'm sure he's got to be related to I grew up around here with Berardinellis. There was Dana Berardinelli I went to school with. Her dad's name was Lou Berardinelli. He was a coach at BG and Altoona. His nickname was Bear. And he looked like a bear. God bless him. He was a nice guy. He was a heck of. Did you know?
No, I didn't know.
Oh.
I'm just saying this whole segment makes me wish I was Italian.
No. But Dominic Berardinelli, freshman. And then Tussey Mountain, I was looking, and this name just jumped out because I love the first name. But his name is, and Dan will hopefully have it spelled right here because I have it here. His name is, he's a freshman quarterback, defensive back. His name is Xavier Fennessy or Fennessy. But I don't think it's Fennessy. I think it's Fennessy. But I just like the look of that name, and I like the sound of the name. So,
I've got no
Dominic
bad
Berardinelli.
puns. No bad puns.
Okay, I was worried.
I know. I know you were.
Xavier Fennessy. But that's going to do it. I want to say it here because Mike has it written down. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'd love to see those numbers roll up on the Facebook page that we get, and we like them anywhere. I don't know if they take Nielsen ratings for public access.
They should.
But they should.
Yeah.
We have it on here at the Miro on Wednesday. We love to watch ourselves on TV. But that's going to do it. For Dan Eisenberg behind the camera, this time actually to the side of the camera. For Andy Stein, for Mike Wood, and I'm Scott Franco. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.